What is up, FloTrack? This is Johnny Pace here at Tracksmith Estates with the one, the only, Matt Centrowitz. Matt, great to see you, dude.
Dude, I mean, we just saw each other a week ago, but always nice to see you.
Yeah, man.
I feel like we're just kind of a traveling circus, you and I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Kingston was fun. We're here in Austin, Texas, though, the home of FloTrack. And tell the people, what are you doing down here?
Outside of seeing you guys?
Yeah, other than that.
Yeah, no, had a great photo shoot this morning and have another shoot later with my new partner and brand, Tracksmith, who I've actually been an investor with for X amount of years. So it's kind of really nice to, yeah, just actually be involved with them now that my partnership with Nike has ended, and I can start pushing the brand forward, and it's been great so far.
Well, this is extremely exciting. I think huge news. So how would you call it? You're an ambassador, an athlete?
Yeah.
On behalf of Tracksmith?
Probably more ambassador than athlete, still trying to stay in shape and keep the dad bod off. But more times these days I'm working and being a father, being a husband, and so running is just like, if I have time for it on that given day, then I go out and get a few miles in. Or this morning, for instance, it was really nice to tag along with Nick Foster's workout. And although I got dropped almost every interval, it was still fun to get out there and work up a sweat. And one thing that I absolutely love about Tracksmith and had multiple conversations with Matt Taylor about is that, you know, they've created this brand and made a product for the core runners out there. And, you know, someone who had a father that was a two-time Olympian, my mom ran, my older sister ran, and so obviously came from a family of runners and have a huge history, is I like when a company sticks to their core and doesn't deviate and try to bring in, you know, and cater to other people outside of, you know, the people that are solely here for runners. And so Tracksmith is here for specifically runners. We're trying to make shoes and products for people running, whether it's pockets for your goo packets, on the shorts, your keys, little things that I for many years would want, or and so that's ultimately I'm here again doing Grand Slam, doing FloTrack, because I'm here also for the runners, and I love working for a company that's also there for them as well.
Amen. Last outdoor you were competing and you made a great run for it, so it's not like you're I'm sure it's going to be a part of your life for a long time. So you've been making moves though. You've been a lot of change in your life. Let's run through them. I know we talked a bit on the podcast, but let's just start from the top. Last a lot of people saw you were out in Salt Lake, professional runner. What, if anything, has changed?
Yeah. So, coming up already almost on a year ago. Funny enough, my retirement announcement was with Ryan and with you guys, and I had no intention going into that sound running meet on actually announcing it, or wasn't fully 100% sure of it, but Ryan and I go way back, and it probably that's what's so great sometimes with doing interviews and chopping it up with people you're familiar with, and you guys bring out a lot of organic and emotions and things that we're even surprised about. I think afterwards, obviously Cole Hawker's interview after Millrose, how much emotion came out of it. You don't realize it until you're going through and what you're saying. And so
I think we're so lucky. I think in our generation, the last 10, 20 years, internet, the insight and the windows into the athletes, it's so much more than just watching the races now.
No, absolutely. Yeah, storytelling, you know. And so anyways, decided that, that was going to be my full year about a year ago. Try to enjoy every single race as it was my last, and ended up obviously coming short of making it to the trials with a hamstring or whatever it was at the time, injury, and started thinking of what that next chapter looked like. At that point, my wife was, I don't know now, we had our son in November, so however many months pregnant, and was just preparing for fatherhood. And so that was the first big change since retirement, having a son in November, and it's everything that everyone says it is. You know, it's amazing. It's hard to describe. It's tiring. It's it tests your patience. It's something that until you actually have a kid of your own, it's really hard to describe, and it's really hard to even feel for something like that. I've had nieces and nephews and really close friends with kids, but man, when it's your own, it hits a little different. And,
definitely.
And so that was amazing. And then we picked up and moved to Chicago after the New Year. after the first quarter, so around April, so only a couple weeks ago. And then...
How's that treating you?
It's been great, yeah. I mean, I haven't been home any of the weekends because we had Grand Slam and then I came down here, but I promised my wife that I'll be around a little bit more after this weekend, but it's nice to change it up. I mean, Park City is amazing in so many ways, like with the mountains and, you know, everything that you can do there from trail running to skiing, but, you know, city life is very different as well, and I love to have bits and pieces of both, and so...
Is this your first big city experience? Like living
sort
somewhere?
of, yeah. I lived in D.C. for a little bit, but I was like in Arlington, so I don't know if that really counts.
Well, depends who you ask.
Yeah. But no, actually, like, yeah, living in a high riser and not having to use a car every day, definitely train to the airport. That's like kind of a first. So different lifestyle.
Hitting that lakefront path.
Lakefront. Yeah, the weather's still cold, so I've been kind of soft. I'm still hitting the treadmill when I do get out for runs, but. So yeah, anyways, first kid, change locations, new job. Obviously, I think I announced with you guys doing the Diamond League broadcast, and then Grand Slam. So
this is like 6 life changes in the matter of 6 months.
I decided to add all the high stressors that one could possibly add in like a 6-month span.
I think if anybody's up for it, it's probably is.
Yeah. That's I need to keep moving. You know, I need something to keep me busy. So, anyways, that's it for now.
I think, to me, this is very fascinating. You're somewhat of a finance bro. I don't know if you would accept that, but...
I'm not accepting that. No, definitely not. No,
you're in the finance world, at least.
Yeah, no, I had a really nice passion for investing. Like, obviously, like I mentioned with Tracksmith earlier, and then, you know, I did a lot of my own investing throughout my career with public equities, and just had, like, unbelievable exposure and opportunities the last few years of my career when, you know, you kind of get to a point where you know the end is near. And as I started getting more injured, or when those injuries started like lasting a bit longer, I was like, all right, I'm too old now to actually stare at my ceiling and wait for this injury to go away and be upset at the world and shut off. And so I started doing some internships. Like investment banking program. I tried everything. Like see what was most exciting to me, what I liked, what stuck. And so I'm kind of still in that stage, to be honest. Like right now, you know, I'm just like still figuring out like if this like is investing for me. Is it something that like I want to do long term? For the short term, love it. It's been exciting. Definitely a lot of crossovers and parallels with sport, but track and field specifically. So
how cool has it been? To come in with such a unique background. A lot of these folks, I imagine, have been in finance world out of college and prior. Like, how do you feel like your background is lending itself kind of with new perspectives?
Yeah, you know, I mentioned this like one of the first weeks working was like my previous job. I had a nap in the middle of the day, you know, and now it's like complete opposite. You don't get any sleep, you know.
Right.
I think, you know, that there's definitely a lot of positives about having a different background. You know, you see the world in a different way. You're not thinking the same way as everyone else at the company. But at the same time, like, you know, I'm a 10-minute miler, like jumping in with like a bunch of sub-4 guys, you know. And so it's great to learn from the best. You know, I might not be able to do the workouts with them right away, but I'm learning. I'm making progress every day. You know, I already feel like I've made a huge leap in the short amount of time from being a 10-minute miler, now I'm sub-9, you know, and so I think that's all really I'm focused on, and that's kind of like how I've approached this career and this side of things of just make progress every month, you know, see progress, you know, especially coming from a sport that I saw progress from the day I started all the way up to, let's say like 2016, 2017, 2018, and then the last several years, like it was tough, you know, it's tough like not PRing in a while, it's tough like making an Olympic team in 2021, and that was kind of a setback compared to like winning the trials previously. So it's nice to actually be in a place right now where I'm seeing progress every day and making huge strides. I
mean, that's the thing. That's in life. I think you need something. It could be anything, but that you work towards and you chip away at. And
exactly. No, for sure. Like again, it's a lot easier getting out of bed and being excited about things. When you know you're gonna make progress or you've seen progress. Like. It was really hard for me, like, the last X amount of years of my career to, like, get out of bed, feel the hamstring, is it still bothering me? Knowing that, you know, on the best day possible, maybe I'm getting second at the trials or barely making the trials. Like, when you go from, you know, the highs to the peaks, like, the tier below is not good enough anymore.
Right.
So.
And I think that's something everybody faces, and you are facing it because like you had the highest of the peak, but at some point in everybody's life, like life changes and life develops, and it's never easy, I don't think. But what advice or how have you like grappled with it and move forward now with so much enthusiasm?
Yeah, I think once you come to terms that nothing lasts forever, it's easier to know that everyone before me, no matter who they were, how good they were, whether they made it professionally and just went up to college, or they accomplished even more than I did at the professional level, we all retire, or we all have to put a stamp on that chapter or that book. And so I get comfort knowing that I'm not the only one, and there's gonna be people behind me that are gonna have to, experience that and go through that as well. And so, yeah, like it's never fun saying goodbye to something that, I've been doing for a couple decades and that I've loved, and it's the only thing I know. But being able to like still do the broadcast with FloTrack and with Grand Slam Track and having obviously this Tracksmith ambassador deal is like ways where I can stay in the sport. I can still enjoy seeing friends like Grant Fisher. We trained last year together in Park City, and like being down there at in Kingston and seeing him still have success and still like. It's gonna be a sad day when there's no one in the sport that I know or train with, and that's when I know I'm official.
They will come at some point.
Yeah, for sure. And so not yet. And so it's again, I guess my advice would be just understanding that you're not the only person. Change is actually great for development. Like I said about the progression and making progress, like I think everyone throughout life, no matter how old you are and where you are in your life, like finding new exciting adventures and challenges is like, I don't know, like constantly bettering yourself in a different way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I found personally, like, as you face that, maybe your best competitive days are behind you, maybe, and also you identify a lot. Like a lot of your identity is wrapped up in your results, and especially when you're a professional athlete. Like, in some ways, people define you by that, and that's tough to disentangle from. But like, as of doing it in the FloTrack and media on my end, like, how many rich, sometimes even better ways to be involved in like the running world exist?
Not many, but what's great about obviously what FloTrack is doing and Michael Johnson's new track league is like it's hopefully creating more opportunities and ways for like not just athletes to stay involved and like financially and creating more opportunities, race opportunities, but also like everyone around it, like that was like my first time where I got the chance to be on the other side of things with media, and there's more people on the other side of things than actually on the track.
It's so true.
And so like, there's creating so many more opportunities for people. And then you got obviously the viewers and the fans, like more opportunities for them to watch and enjoy the sport. So, obviously what FloTrack does is without them, like, I mean, taking on the Diamond League, events, like, I don't know, like, who, like, so for so many years, like, people would, like, kind of hate on Nike for a lot of things. And it's like, there's a lot of times where, like, Nike was, like, I forgot what their contract was with USA Track and Field, like, $250 million, whatever, $200 million contract. And it's like, if it's not them, then, like, who else? Like, you want someone to come in and give USA Track and Field $10 million for a contract that Nike's paying, like, 25x for or whatever? And it's like, it gives more grants and opportunities for athletes. So, yeah, like, everything and anything that's, like, even the smaller brands, like, track, like, that's great for the sport, creates more opportunity.
Well, let's dive into this. Like, I'm so curious where the stuff you've been thinking about with Tracksmith, where you want to make an impact, where you see opportunities, what you're excited to be involved with.
Well, first and foremost, like, love the quality of the product. It kind of gives me a lot of, like, old school vibes, like, I know it's, we're based in New England, up in Boston, and like, yeah, with the sash and the look, it's very different. And so, like, obviously, like, my dad being an old school guy, like, and following the sport for so many years, like, I like the look. It's different. Like, oftentimes there's too many brands where you go to a meet and you're like, if they had the same color, you wouldn't know who's who, right? Like, everything looks the same. And so what's great is that, like, we could probably be the same color, and, like, I think we would still stick out, over some of the other brands. And so I'm excited that, like, I love the product. I love the people that, like, work within the company. It's a small company. They truly, like, are invested and care about running and track. I mean, look at the partnerships and the opportunities they've given athletes just in this short period of time. Like, they don't lock any of them in contracts. Like, you have athletes that will wear a Tracksmith singlet at the trials or at US Championships, and then through that like success, they're wearing another company's brand like the next day, and Tracksmith is not like, hey, you have to stay with us if we give you any type of like stipend or commitment. And so it's nice that they're also involved in really helping people that aren't getting the love and the support that, as we all know, there aren't many great opportunities and a lot of great contracts in this sport. And so they're coming in and filling in and allow like people that are working other jobs, part-time jobs, don't have like the financial support to keep chasing the dream, so they can come in and allow them to like, hey, we can support you with your travel and give you product and give you gear and, pay for some of these things that, you might struggle to do.
Right. And so where do you see yourself fitting in with it?
For me personally, like anywhere and everywhere. Yeah. Like I would love to, I'm obviously going to keep doing some road races and maybe some future marathons, and so like give them some feedback, give products some feedback on like what works, what I think could be a little bit better, from maybe the marketing side of things. Like I know I'm down here with Nick Foster, and like just connecting with him, and like we both live in Chicago, and hearing from the athletes that are actually like out there competing and racing, and like same thing, like what can they do better, what can we do better to help service you, like what are you thinking? Like I'm only running 5-minute miles, but like Nick, you just ran a 3:30 whatever, like like did the spikes or did the the super shoe hold up, like what would you change about that? And then just also like brand awareness and exposure, like promote the brand as much as I can. Obviously at Grand Slam, you were
repping that.
I was repping some of the the rugby long sleeve, and then I repped a few other shirts and got some really funny and positive feedback through my DMs. I think it went from like, we had the small logo of the rabbit, and then the next one was even bigger, and everyone's like, what is day 3 going to be? Are you going to be dressed up as a rabbit?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are you going to be? And I was like, you're going to have to stand by and watch. Yeah.
Stand by and watch. So how about the shoes? Yeah, I'm going to be racing Boston next week in the carbon fiber shoes, the Elliott Racer, I believe.
Yep, yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to try those yet?
So actually, Nick and I were talking about that this morning. So we worked out in those. Nice. And I have yet to determine yet if it is the Elliott Racer or I just came from altitude and I'm fitter than I thought. Yeah. But I've only worked out in those the last few weeks being in Chicago, and my times have been like unbelievable. Really? They're very comfortable. I like them a lot. They, like just like any like other super shoe, like you're getting that bounce, you know what I mean? Except with this one specifically, like I like the look as well. Like a lot of slick. Even these are like running shoes technically. Yeah. But they're like great for wearing around too. Yeah, they're casual. Like I mean, I can wear these at the office. Like I can wear these like literally slip out from the office, and what are those memes where it's like he's got to run at 5, but work at 6 or something like so. Yeah, their Elliott Racer, like I just like the more shoe feeling. And when I say like shoe feeling, is like so many companies have now gone off where like the upper is like so different now, and it's really hard to like lock your foot in the shoe because of like their stitching is like off to the side and the laces are pushed over here, and it's just like, or they have like, I don't know, so much plastic up on top and it like cuts my foot. Yeah. If my sock was to slip down or I was wearing no socks at all. And so like I like just, again, call me old school. I like just tying my laces up, knowing where my laces are, feeling like my foot is snug, and then just allow me to do what we do. Yeah. So.
Well, we had Matt, the founder, over to the office a couple months ago.
Oh, cool.
We were diving into that a bit. And it seems like they put a lot of thought and energy into like doing it right. Yeah. Making it quality. Yeah. And I'm excited to line up in Boston. So not only are you an Olympic gold medalist in the 15, but you're also a Chicago Marathon finisher. I think people shouldn't forget that.
Yeah, so. I mean, damn right. I don't know what's going to be at the top of that resume there, but I would definitely say that Chicago Marathon was harder than that Olympic race.
It wasn't really.
I mean, it wasn't, I guess, like so hard that I'm not coming back because I already mentally signed up to do it again this year. So.
Oh, true.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. After I could start walking right again, you know, and before 38K, it was fun. Nice. So
will that be your next like marathon probably?
Yeah. I won't unless it would be hard for someone to talk me into doing one before October.
Well, Tracksmith has a huge home game coming up next weekend, the Boston Marathon. I think it's probably too late. No, never say never, but that's going to be a huge event. Tracksmith, I feel like they originated kind of the outside of the expo experience, like the track house and the whole build up into the race and just the whole community and culture of it. But it should be a lot of fun. I'm excited to get out there. We're going to be checking it out. Tracksmith's going to sponsor our coverage of the majors.
Very cool.
And
I would love to go out there, not to run it, but just to be out there. But I think, given what I saw, my fitness was this morning with Nick, and then again me being gone every other weekend. I think my wife would kill me if I took off last second. So happy wife, happy life. And then it's happy sponsor after that.
Exactly. What well, for folks that haven't done a marathon yet or early on, what would be your marathon tips?
Shoot. Oh man, I don't know if I'm the right guy with one marathon under my belt.
Hey.
There's probably a lot more people that are more qualified. I would say, it's funny because like we were in the front, but there were so many people that were still blowing by us, and then obviously like carnage like a few miles later. So I don't know. My advice would just be like train smarter than like harder, and then that should hopefully translate into racing smarter than harder. Like for me, coming from the track, like showing and like actually like executing patience was really hard because you're supposed to feel really good, like hopefully through 20 at least. And for me, I'm like, man, I can really go right now. I can really go, but like I know like the bear is going to jump on the last X amount of K, and it did. And so I would say like that's a real thing. So I would say if it's your first marathon, especially if you're asking for tips, be more conservative, because guess what? Then it allows for so much more room for improvement on marathon 2 and 3, and then you also want to walk away from it from a positive standpoint. Like you don't want to come away and being like so negative that you never want to do one again. You want to finish and be like, you know what? It did suck. It was hard, but it wasn't as hard as everyone said, or I made it up in my head. And you know what? I'm starting to kind of get that itch again to either better like last year's time, or like do another one. So
I think I agree with that. That patience I think is key, especially in Boston. If you ever run it, it'll trick you because it's downhill for the first 10 miles or so.
That's what I hear.
And then the pain.
That's actually even worse.
It's worse.
Like if you had to start downhill, like especially as you get older, like most marathoners are older, like it beats your legs up. Instead of like, I'd almost rather just get the uphill over with like, and you're fresher that way. And so the fact that you are forced to go downhill and you're probably rolling, like you said, that it's not money in the bank, man. That is not money in the bank.
It comes back to bite you on that hill.
Yeah. So that makes for a tough way to run. So it's probably why Boston is so tough, and obviously one that a lot of people like kind of struggle with over the years, like just like running like super fast or come away from it like not hitting the times that they thought they were like in shape to do. So
well, the marathon I found like versus the mile, with mile the 15 you got 4 laps.
Yeah.
A lot can go wrong, but it's like over so quick. With the marathon, there's like 10 variables or more, and you got to over 2 or 3 plus hours.
Yeah.
That if any of those go wrong, you're maybe not having your best.
Yeah, it'll go wrong. Like also another thing, like I learned from Kira, that I was training with going into Chicago, is that like some of her best races were like when she like struggled early on, and you got to find a way, and that's like why I know I was never going to be a good marathoner or never stepped up, is like you got to find ways to like just keep going, like because it could turn at any given point and you just don't know. And for me, like if it ever hurt on the track, I'd be like, I'm done. Like I would just like sign off. Like that was it. Like I was not a grinder. And like, I think you're in the sport long enough, like you know who the grinders are, and you know who the people that are like, they are just like punching above their, fitness level. And so I was one of those guys that like, okay, if I can train close to my PR, then I know I can run a PR. I wasn't going to just go out there and grind some like hard mileage or like push through when it got tough. I was like, as a miler, you want it to be pretty easy for the most part, maybe the last 100 meters,
Just next couple months, like how excited are you about Diamond League and keeping that broadcast streak going, and any other stuff that you're excited about in your life?
I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to publicly talk about some of the people that FloTrack has hired for this, but getting a chance to see who I'll be working with and who also will be doing the Diamond League makes me very excited to be working with them and chatting up with them. And I mean, I've said this a million times, like I've been yapping about track and field for however many years, like on runs and to whoever's listening, or maybe no one's listening, and now I get to do it and have an audience, like sign me up.
Well, you're a natural, man. We watched back, Grand Slam, and it felt like you had been doing it.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
It's just the start, and you're gonna get better and better. And,
I hope so. Yeah. That's the plan. So, but yeah, no, really excited. And I think like, you know, we've talked about FloTrack, and Ryan and I talked about doing some like kind of other fun things too, like outside of the Diamond League. So really excited to just kind of put out some, hopefully, content that people want, that they'll be enjoyed listening to, and just like, you know, we want to also know like and hear from them and like what they want, because at the end of the day, like, you know, that's who we're selling to, right? That's who we're like, you know, they're our audience. So if we're giving things that they don't want, then, you know, what are we doing it for? Right. So
I can't think of anybody I'd rather have along for the ride. So we're excited to have you.
Amazing. Thanks, man.